Hey, what is going on, my fellow Wing Nostalgics? Today we're taking a look at this. This is a new Premium Bandai HG set of the Mercurius and the Vayeate together in one box. Finally, at long last, Bandai's made new versions of these kits. The old versions, well, I mean, they're old, not terrible kits. These are certainly going to be a huge improvement, so I'm super excited. I love the Mercurius and the Vayeate from Gundam Wing, and so I'm really excited to have these out. I'm assuming it's going to be maybe using some parts from the HG Leo kit, maybe the joint parts, but because of the way that those runners are laid out, I'm not even sure it's going to be using any of those, so these might be entirely, completely new kits. There's only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and crack open the box and see what we got in store for us. So as always, with this being a Premium Bandai box, there's not a whole lot to see on the outside of the box here, mostly just the title and everything, but the front box art is pretty cool there with the two mobile suits side by side, and then you got a kind of action shot back here in the background using the kits and some cool CGI there. So it all looks very nice. Let's just go ahead and crack open the box. Let's see what we got here. So you got some blue, you got some red, you got a whole bunch of stickers. That's not looking very good. We'll take a look at all of those runners here in a moment. Let's just first here look at the manual, which is an entirely new manual. Not very surprising there. I wouldn't expect them to be able to reuse the manual from the Leo or anything like that, for example. But here you do have the parts list down there at the bottom. Blue parts, red parts, so you'll have to pay attention. So some of the runners will be, you'll have like the exact same version of them. The A and B runners looks like you've got some of those in red and then some of them in blue. So just make sure you're obviously paying attention, or you can mix and match if you want to have some fun with it. Anyway, the rest of the manual here, just going to go through the construction. We do have a color guide in here as well too, just in text form, but that's in Japanese and in English if you want to check the official color mixes. And I think that's probably about it. It's not like this comes with any decal markings or anything, so there's no guide for that. It's just all basically the construction. So we can go ahead and get right down to business here with the sticker sheet. Now, I was thinking that the sticker sheet was maybe just for only one of the kits, but this is the entire sticker sheet for both kits combined, so I'm feeling not so bad about this now, considering the sticker sheet is not that big and it's for two kits. So basically you got some just camera little ones, some little details there. And these big ones there that'll go in the backpack of the Vayeate. So, I mean, not that bad. And for polycaps, all we've got here is PC7. We've got two of these for some polycap ball joints in gray. Then we've got SB6 for clear yellow beam saber effect parts, where you'll only use one of these actually just for the crash shield of the Mercurius. And then for the Vayeate, we've got this rubber tube here, which has no kind of copper wire or anything inside of it, so it's just going to be bendable, but it's not going to be able to keep a shape, unfortunately. Then we've got some clear base parts. This is CE1 for some clear base parts here, and then a couple of other parts added on there. I think these are going to be useful probably for especially the Mercurius's planet defensors, basically, is what those will be used for, but we'll see what else those end up being useful for. Alright, then kicking off with our blue version of the A runner, minus this part which fell off in the bag there, but that's a little part there in the light gray, and you got some kind of medium gray up there, and then a couple of pieces there in light blue, and then our main blue color here. And our red version of the A runner basically is red with the pink for our lighter color there. And then our blue version of the B runner for some parts for the arms and legs, we've got two of these. And our red version of the B runner as well too. And I will say it's a really nice color of red. It's not super bright, so it looks really, really quite nice. And then here in a kind of medium gray color is some joint parts and things like that. This is runner C2. So these would be the parts that I was wondering if they would be maybe borrowed from the Leo, which they're not. These are entirely new runners. So there's runner C2. Here's runner C3. And you may notice a couple of pieces of this one also fell off in the runner, so just make sure you're careful about any parts that might come loose in the bag before you throw your bags away. And the same thing for runner C4 as well. Here's just kind of a copy of that. The same pieces fell off the runner there, and you also got this extra piece in there for the shield as well too. Then runner D in this very dark, almost black basically color here. It looks like mostly colors for the Vayeate's backpack and kind of beam launcher there. And then E1 is going to be a bunch of our planet defensor parts on there, which look great. Those look really nice. And then the shield and beam pistol there for the Mercurius as well too. And then runner E2 is a copy of this section for the planet defensors right there. So there you have it, guys. As I was kind of expecting, it is an entirely new kit. It's not using any parts from the Leo at all. So there you go. That's really exciting. Or new kits, I should say. It's actually two kits in one, right? That's awesome. And I just want to say, how awesome is it that they released it as a set rather than releasing them separately? I'm really glad about that. I'm really happy that they decided to release it that way. Anyway, let me go ahead and get these all built up, and then we'll see how they look. Alright guys, so here is the pair of them all built up. Very nice. Man, I wouldn't go out and say these are like the best high grades ever, or even like the best high grades of the year. They're great high grades as they are. They're a huge improvement over the old 144 scale kits. That just should go without saying, but that's kind of the main point of these. Now, as these are, I think, like I said, they're great kits. They do everything they're supposed to do, so very nice. There's a couple of seam lines, little ones here and there. Yeah, again, is way better than what you had on the old kits if you guys ever built those. I mean, it's just seam lines all over the place. So lots to love about these, especially if you're a fan of the design. Let's go ahead and check them out here up close. Let me just first talk a little bit about just the kits in general. You have some really nice color separation with these bits. None of that's stickers, well, a sticker for the eye camera there, of course. But some nice color separation here with these bits in the shoulders. You have a seam line there on the top of the shoulder and on the top of the torso, and that's really kind of going to be your main seam lines with these kits. Other than that, like the arms and the legs, pretty much nothing in the way of seam lines here. You have the seam is just made up as a panel line there, so you got that. I guess up in there, that thruster belt up inside of there is unfortunately a seam line through the middle of that. But probably what I would do if I was you guys, I would just cut that off, sand that down, get rid of that, and then just use a different thruster belt option part or something up there instead. It would be a lot easier than trying to remove that seam line on that. But yeah, here up in the torso as well, I mean, it's all color separated. There's no stickers with the old kit, which we'll see a comparison. I'll show you guys a comparison here in just a minute. That was not color separated at all, so that's nice. We do have stickers for these little yellow bits here on the planet defensors there on the back, but again, it's kind of not that big a deal. You have some safety flags here on the antenna. You can cut and shave those down to get a nice sharp point on the antenna. Will look much nicer. The head is just on a simple ball joint, so I mean, it will go up to there, down to there. That's kind of about it. For the mask, for the open mask, basically you have to swap out the part on the head, and the swappable part does have a sticker on it, so that light pink sticker going around there is on that, where on this other piece here it's an actual part. Taking off the head is easy enough though, and you got a sticker there for the camera lens inside. And then pop that down onto there and you can have your open mask version, but honestly I don't like the look of that at all, so I won't use this at all. So the sticker on that part of the head doesn't bother me so much because it's just a part that I'm not really going to end up using ever. Mask down is definitely the way to go. It definitely looks a lot cooler. Here in the shoulders you have the typical kind of joint which will swing out to the front like that, and then this part will rotate on its own. You can bring the arm up then if you don't pull it out of the socket. Up to about there, which is honestly not that much, but I feel like, again, an easy modification to make would just be to cut this hole on the top there, to cut that a little bit further back, and that way you can bring the arm up more if you wanted that to be up any further than that, because unfortunately that's just going to be the limit of that. You got some rotation there below that shoulder joint, and then the elbow joint is going to give you more than 90 degrees, but that is really going to be about it. It's very simple, single joint there, just like with the HG Leo, but you do have a pretty good range of movement there with that. The wrist is just on a ball joint. Here in the stomach section we have a little bit of movement forward and back. You have kind of a little bit of movement there, not really all that much, and some twisting side to side. These kind of side skirt bits can be moved up and down a little bit, but again, not really all that much. The hip joint can be rotated to the front and the back. That's kind of on this piece, which will allow you to bring that up farther to the front. I guess this front skirt part is slightly articulated in that it's attached via a ball joint, but you can't really move it around all that much, and there's not really too much point to moving this around really, other than just it's nice that it's a separate piece. Will just make it easier for painting. Yeah, ultimately you can bring the leg up to about there, which again is not that much, but just due to the design it's kind of understandable. Nice double joint here in the knee though. Definitely get a good full bend there out of that, and some separation of the knee armor. Again, something that didn't exist in the old kit. This knee armor is molded together with the thigh, so it'd just be kind of like that. And you got a ball joint down here for the ankles. You got a little bit of movement there with that, and it's kind of got the flip-flop kind of foot there, so you can move that up and down. I like that, mostly just up. When you're pointing the foot down, it'll just go down to there. The front ankle armor is on a little ball joint of its own, so you can kind of move that around a little bit, but basically it's just meant to just stay in place there for the most part. And then background here for our attachment points for the planet defensors and for the Vayeate to be for its own equipment is just plugged on via a peg right there on the back. And these aren't articulated as they are. You have to pull them apart. They have some different attachment points in there, so you can attach them on at different points to each other. So it's kind of nice that they're all individually their own thing. They're not like connected to each other or anything, so you can have them all posed separately if you want, or you can keep them together in any different kind of shape that you might want. And other accessories then just are going to include its little beam rifle here, and it's got a pretty unsightly sticker for the camera for that, but that's pretty much it. Very simple. And then the shield with the beam saber attachment piece, which can go into there, the effect part, and this is just held in the hand like that. Also easy, simple, and then our option hand here is just going to be an open hand with no back part. So you're gonna have to swap out the back part if you want to swap out the hand on the left side. Otherwise, these two holding hands is all that you have included with this. You also then have two of these effect bases for the planet defensors, and we'll see these in use in a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to hold much weight, but they shouldn't really need to, so those should be okay. And for the Vayeate, basically everything is the same, except obviously the antenna is different, the color, and then just the equipment here on the back. So the main cannon is plugged here onto the back, and you can pop that off of there. And you got yellow stickers here for these, yellow stickers around there and on there, and when you pop that open, that's all yellow stickers there, unfortunately. Really wish that that piece on the inside would have been in like a molded gold or something like that, would have looked a lot nicer. Or if they would have made a yellow piece to fit in between here to make those a separate part. Obviously if this was a master grade or something like that, then that's a no-brainer, but for an HG, you know. So you pop out this part here and connect it onto the back of there, and it's a nice good solid fit, and the hoses look pretty nice, and they're kind of looped around inside here and then plugged into the backpack, so it feels like a pretty good connection there for those. The handle is articulated to the side, so you should be able to get a good grip on that. And then this part here on the front also moves around, and you can extend this part out like that, this kind of support arm for that, and that will go up underneath the back and then plug back into where it was plugged in before. But then it's just kind of like wrapped around the body here, again, just for some support for that. Like that, there you guys get it. And then you can use your open hand. We have another open hand for the Vayeate here as well. You can use that for your kind of support hand for this, but there you go. I think that looks very cool. It definitely pulls off the look quite nicely. All right, and I guess this part is then supposed to be rotated back like that, there you go. And the other thing that I wanted to show you guys here is then just a comparison between the old 144 scale non-grade kit and the new high grade. Obviously it looks so much better with the old kit. Again, it's got seam lines all over the place. It's got the polycap hands, which are never any good. It's got much less color separation, as you don't have gray parts for the vents. That blue you see in the stomach section there, that's just a sticker. It doesn't have any light blue parts for the head, the shoulders, or in the stomach section there. Just much better detail. The articulation obviously going to be much better. I think the articulation of the new HG unfortunately is still not as nice as I would have liked, but it's definitely going to be much better than with the old kit. So there's just kind of a look around there. You can also see that it's definitely a little bit taller as well too. I think the proportions are definitely nicer. It's got a little bit more kind of length, and the legs are also not only a little bit longer but also a little bit thinner there at the bottom as well too, and they look pretty nice in comparison. So I think it's definitely a huge improvement over the old one. Well, so there you have it, guys. And like I said, there's a couple of weak points there in the articulation where I wish that was a little bit nicer, but seeing as how it's basically based off of the Leo, even though, you know, as we saw, there's not actually any parts from the Leo in there, it's still, you know, if you're building this and you're building the, you'll see how they're very much basically identically engineered anyway. And so it's a very simple kit. And now I think that makes sense, you know, that it would be based off the Leo, although I do wish that they would have just gone ahead and just made this kind of entirely its own separate thing and not like tried to base the engineering off the Leo. I think that would have allowed them to make the articulation a little bit nicer in some certain areas. But again, at the end of the day, these are so much nicer than the old kits, and I'm just happy that they finally got remade. Didn't know if these were ever going to get more updated kits, but I'm really happy that these ended up coming out. So thanks for that, Bandai. But I guess it would have been nice if they were a little bit nicer articulation there. It would have been nice if they had a little bit nicer articulation in there, and of course would have been nice if they were not premium Bandai exclusives, of course. But they're pretty good kits if you're fans of the designs. I think they're definitely worth checking out if you can get your hands on the set for a fairly decent price. Of course, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about the kits? And if you missed the live stream build, you can go back and check that out. I did build these live, so if you want to watch that, that's available here on my channel as well too. But until next time, guys, thank you so much. Thank you to USA Gundam Store for their supports too and making it all possible. Check the link and the coupon code for you guys to use down there in the video description down below. And until next time, guys, I hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.